The observation deck of Europa Station offered a view that never failed to steal Elena Vasquez's breath. Jupiter dominated the viewport, its bands of cream and rust swirling in eternal patterns, the great red spot staring back like an unblinking eye. She'd been stationed here for 8 months, and still the gas giant mesmerized her. Magnificent, isn't it? Elena didn't need to turn to recognize Marcus Webb's voice. She'd known it for 10 years, had once fallen asleep to it whispering promises in the dark. That was before they'd both chosen their careers over each other, before the academy graduation that sent them to opposite ends of the solar system. "Dr. Webb," she said formally, though her heart was already racing. "I didn't expect to see you here." "Commander Vasquez." He moved to stand beside her, close enough that she could smell his cologne, still the same after all these years. "I suppose congratulations are in order. I heard about your promotion. And I heard about your breakthrough on atmospheric dynamics. Very impressive." They stood in awkward silence, watching Jupiter's clouds churn. Finally, Marcus spoke quietly. "Elena, about what happened between us." "Mission briefing in 5 minutes," the station's AI announced, interrupting whatever he'd been about to say. The briefing room was cold, sterile, filled with brass and scientists. Admiral Chen stood at the front, her expression grave as she began the presentation. "Jupiter's atmospheric behavior has become increasingly erratic over the past 6 months, she explained, pulling up data that showed storm patterns shifting in ways that defied their models. "The Great Red Spot is expanding and contracting in cycles we can't predict. We're seeing energy readings that shouldn't be possible given our understanding of the planet's composition." Elena felt Marcus's gaze on her but kept her eyes forward. "We need a crude atmospheric probe," Admiral Chen continued. "Deep penetration, further than any previous mission. Commander Vasquez will pilot. Dr. Webb will lead the scientific analysis. You leave in 48 hours. Elena's stomach dropped. 48 hours to prepare for the most dangerous mission of her career, trapped in a small ship with the man who'd once meant everything to her. After the briefing, Marcus caught up with her in the corridor. "Elena, wait. We should talk about this." "About the mission?" She kept walking, forcing herself to maintain professional distance. "About us. About working together." He grabbed her arm gently, making her stop. The touch sent electricity through her skin. "I can't pretend I don't remember what we had." She finally met his eyes, those warm brown eyes that had once looked at her like she was the only star in the universe. "That was a long time ago, Marcus. We're different people now." "Are we?" He stepped closer, his voice dropping to that intimate register that used to undo her completely. "Because standing here, looking at you, I feel exactly the same as I did 10 years ago." Elena's resolve wavered. She'd spent years convincing herself that leaving him had been the right choice, that ambition mattered more than love. But now, faced with the reality of him, solid and warm and still somehow hers in ways she couldn't deny, all those certainties crumbled. "We have a mission to prepare for," she said, but her voice lacked conviction. 48 hours, Marcus agreed. "Then we're going to be locked in a ship together for potentially weeks, diving into the most hostile environment humans have ever attempted to explore. Elena, if something goes wrong down there, if this is our last chance, I need you to know I never stopped." She kissed him. It was impulsive and unprofessional and everything she'd told herself she wouldn't do, but his words had broken through every defense she'd built. He responded immediately, his arms wrapping around her waist, pulling her close as 10 years of longing poured into that single moment. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Elena rested her forehead against his. "This is a terrible idea." "The worst," Marcus agreed, but he was smiling. "We're about to risk our lives flying into Jupiter, and all I can think about is how much I've missed you. We should focus on the mission." "Absolutely." He kissed her again, softer this time, tender in a way that made her chest ache. "Right after you have dinner with me tonight." We need to discuss atmospheric protocols. Elena laughed despite herself. Is that what we're calling it? Unless you have a better euphemism for, I want to spend every possible moment with you before we potentially die in a gas giant. Romantic as ever, Dr. Webb. But she agreed to dinner. And as they walked together through Europa Station's corridors, Jupiter looming massive in every viewport, Elena felt something shift inside her. Fear, yes, the mission was legitimately dangerous. But also hope, fragile and persistent, that maybe some things were worth more than career ambitions. That maybe, just maybe, she'd been wrong to let him go. Outside, Jupiter's storms raged on, holding secrets neither of them could yet imagine. The research vessel Galileo's dream was cramped even by space exploration standards. Elena ran through the pre-flight checklist for the third time, her fingers moving across the controls with practiced precision. Behind her in the science station, Marcus was calibrating instruments, his presence a constant awareness in the small space. Iris, run full diagnostics, Elena commanded. All systems optimal, Commander, the ship's AI responded in her calm, measured tone. Atmospheric shielding at maximum. Heat dissipation systems green. Probability of successful penetration to target depth, 63%. Those aren't great odds, Marcus observed quietly. They're the best we've got. Elena initiated the undocking sequence. Through the viewport, Europa Station began to drift away, and beyond it, Jupiter filled their entire field of vision, a wall of swirling storms that they were about to fly directly into. Marcus moved up behind her chair, his hand resting briefly on her shoulder. For the record, last night was. Don't. Elena covered his hand with hers. Don't make this goodbye speech. We're coming back. Elena. We're coming back, she repeated firmly, squeezing his fingers. I didn't find you again just to lose you in a storm. They'd spent the previous evening in her quarters, talking until dawn about everything they'd missed in 10 years apart. Talking had led to touching, touching to kissing, kissing to more. They'd made love with the desperate intensity of people who knew tomorrow might never come, and Elena had fallen asleep in his arms feeling more complete than she had in years. The descent began smoothly. They dropped through the upper atmosphere, instruments recording data as the clouds thickened around them. But as they reached the deeper layers, something changed. Iris, are you seeing this? Marcus leaned over his instruments, his voice tight with excitement and confusion. The energy patterns, they're not random. They're organized, almost like. Like what? Elena checked their trajectory, making minute adjustments as atmospheric turbulence increased. Like neural pathways. Like thoughts. Marcus pulled up a visualization that showed the storm currents around them pulsing with light. Elena, I think Jupiter is thinking. That's impossible. Commander, Dr. Webb is correct, Iris interjected. The energy patterns do demonstrate characteristics consistent with information processing. I'm detecting what appears to be intentional communication attempts directed at our vessel. The ship suddenly lurched, caught in a current that pulled them deeper than their planned route. Elena fought with the controls, but it was like trying to steer through syrup. The storms around them intensified, colors shifting from cream and brown to deep purples and blues she'd never seen in any Jupiter imagery. We're being pulled somewhere, Elena said through gritted teeth. Iris, can you break us free? Negative. The force is too strong. However, I'm not detecting hostile intent. The pattern suggests guidance. Marcus had moved to stand behind Elena's chair, one hand braced on the wall, the other on her shoulder. Let it take us. I think whatever this is, it wants us to see something. That's insane. This whole situation is insane. His fingers tightened on her shoulder. But my readings are off the charts. There's something down here, Elena. Something alive. She made a decision that went against every protocol. Iris, cease resistance. Let the current guide us. They plunged deeper into Jupiter's heart, past layers no human had ever seen. The pressure should have crushed them, but somehow the ship held. The storms outside became a kaleidoscope of impossible colors, and through it all, Elena felt something, a presence, vast and ancient, aware of them. "Marcus," she whispered. "Do you feel that?" "Yes." He'd moved to kneel beside her chair, his face illuminated by the strange light filtering through the viewport. "We're not alone. We've never been alone." The current finally released them into a pocket of perfect calm. They floated in what seemed like an eye of the storm, surrounded by swirling walls of purple-tinted clouds that pulsed with their own light. "Iris, location? Unknown, Commander. We're approximately 3,000 kilometers deeper than any previous probe. Atmospheric composition is anomalous. There appears to be a stable pocket here, which should be impossible given the pressure and temperature." Marcus stood, moving to the viewport. "Elena, look." Through the clouds, something was approaching. A shape, humanoid but not quite human, moving through the atmosphere as easily as they might walk through air. As it came closer, Elena's breath caught. It was a woman, or something like a woman. Her features were elegant, almost familiar, but her skin held that same purple luminescence as the clouds around them. She wore no suit, no breathing apparatus, yet she moved through the hostile atmosphere with perfect ease. She raised her hand and pressed it against the outside of their viewport. Her eyes met Elena's, and in that moment, Elena felt a connection that transcended language, transcended species, a recognition that shook her to her core. "Iris," Marcus breathed. "Are you recording this?" "Yes, Dr. Webb. Though I have no framework to explain what I'm observing." The woman outside smiled, and somehow Elena knew, this was just the beginning. The woman gestured, a graceful movement that somehow conveyed invitation despite the barrier between them. Then she turned and began moving away through the purple-lit clouds, clearly expecting them to follow. "Iris, can we move?" Elena was already reaching for the controls. "I have limited maneuvering capability in this environment, but yes, Commander. The atmospheric pressure has stabilized around us. It's as if something is protecting the ship." "Follow her," Marcus urged, his scientific curiosity warring with disbelief on his face. "We have to know what she is." They glided through the impossible pocket of calm, following their mysterious guide deeper into Jupiter's heart. The purple glow intensified until they emerged into something that defied all logic, a vast chamber carved from clouds, with structures that looked almost architectural despite being made of nothing but compressed gases and energy. The woman waited for them at what appeared to be a landing platform. As Elena set the ship down, Marcus was already grabbing recording equipment. "We can't go out there," Elena protested. "The atmosphere would kill us in seconds." "Commander, I'm detecting a localized field around the landing area," Iris reported. "Atmospheric composition within it is breathable. Temperature and pressure are within survivable ranges." "That's impossible," Elena said, but even as she spoke, she was running scans that confirmed Iris's assessment. Marcus was already at the airlock. Only one way to find out. They cycled through together, hands instinctively finding each other as the outer door opened. The air that greeted them was warm and carried a scent like ozone and something sweeter, almost floral. The woman stood a few meters away, waiting with infinite patience. Up close, she was breathtaking. Tall and graceful, with features that were almost human but refined in ways that spoke of different evolutionary pressures. Her skin held that luminous purple quality, as if light moved beneath its surface. Her hair floated around her face like she was underwater, responding to currents Elena couldn't feel. "Welcome," the woman said, her voice melodious and strange, speaking English with an accent that didn't match any earthly origin. "I am Lyra. I have been waiting for you." "Waiting?" Marcus recovered his voice first. "You knew we were coming? I felt your ship enter Jupiter's embrace. Felt your minds reaching out, trying to understand." Lyra moved closer, her movements liquid and hypnotic. You're the first of your kind to come so deep, the first to truly seek understanding rather than just data. Elena found her voice. What are you? How can you exist here? The same way you exist on your world, this is my home, shaped by my nature as yours is shaped by yours. Lyra tilted her head, studying them with eyes that held depths Elena couldn't fathom. Your species sees Jupiter as dead, a lifeless ball of gas. You are wrong about so many things. Life can't exist in these conditions, Marcus protested, though his words lacked conviction. The pressure, the temperature, the radiation. Life as you understand it, perhaps. Lyra smiled, and Elena felt something stir in her chest, a warmth that had nothing to do with atmospheric conditions. But consciousness takes many forms. Jupiter breathes. Jupiter thinks. Jupiter dreams. And within those dreams, beings like me have existed for longer than your sun has burned. She gestured, and the clouds around them became transparent, revealing vistas that stole Elena's breath. Structures of condensed gas and energy stretched into the distance, some geometric and precise, others organic and flowing. And between them moved other beings, some humanoid like Lyra, others completely alien, living sculptures of light and matter. This is a city, Elena whispered. A civilization. One of many, Lyra confirmed. Jupiter contains multitudes, Commander Vasquez. As do all the great giants of your solar system and beyond. We are the children of storms, born from pressure and time and the strange consciousness that emerges when worlds themselves begin to think. Marcus was frantically recording, his scientific mind trying to catalog the impossible. But Elena found herself drawn to Lyra, stepping closer despite herself. There was something magnetic about the alien woman, something that called to her on a level beyond simple curiosity. Why show us this? Elena asked. Why reveal yourself now? Lyra reached out, her hand hovering near Elena's cheek. Because you asked. Because your kind has reached the point where you might be ready to know you're not alone, even in places you thought were dead. Her fingers brushed Elena's skin, and the touch sent shivers through her, not unpleasant, but strange and electric. And because I have been lonely, Elena Vasquez. For all our wonders, we are few, and the giants are far apart. Your kind fascinates us, so brief, so bright, burning through your lives with such intensity. You know my name, Elena breathed. I know many things. I felt you the moment you entered Jupiter's atmosphere, your courage, your confusion, your... Lyra's gaze flicked to Marcus and back. Your love. Emotions broadcast themselves in ways you don't yet understand. They ripple through space like waves through water. Marcus moved to stand beside Elena, his presence reassuring and grounding. What do you want from us? To share truth, Lyra said simply. And perhaps. Her eyes met Elena's again, and there was something vulnerable in that ancient gaze. To not be alone, even for a moment. We are so different, your kind and mine. But consciousness recognizes consciousness, Elena. And I have wanted to touch another thinking being who might understand the gift and burden of awareness. Elena realized she was holding her breath. Lyra's presence filled the space around them like gravity, undeniable and affecting everything. Marcus's hand found hers, squeezing gently, an anchor to humanity, to the familiar, even as they stood in this impossible place. Show us everything, Elena said, making a decision that would change the course of human history. We want to understand. Lyra's smile was radiant. Then come. Let me show you what Jupiter truly is. Lyra led them through her world, and with each step, Elena's understanding of reality reshaped itself. The structures around them weren't built so much as coaxed into being, clouds compressed and held by will and energy into forms that served as homes, laboratories, gathering places. The beings they passed varied wildly in appearance, but all shared that same luminous quality, that sense of existing partially in dimensions Elena couldn't fully perceive. Your scientists wonder why Jupiter radiates more heat than it receives from the sun, Lyra explained as they walked through a thoroughfare where clouds flowed like water and light danced in organized patterns. It's not just compression and gravity. Jupiter is alive, and life generates warmth. Every thought the planet thinks, every dream it dreams, creates energy. The planet itself is conscious. Marcus was recording everything, his mind visibly struggling to categorize the impossible. In ways you can barely conceive. Lyra paused at what appeared to be a viewing platform, where the clouds cleared to reveal Jupiter's deeper layers. Your consciousness arises from electrical impulses in organic matter. Ours arises from electromagnetic patterns in plasma and pressure gradients. Jupiter's arises from the interaction of its entire mass, every atom, every current, every storm. It is thought and awareness on a scale that makes even my people seem small. Elena moved to stand beside Lyra, drawn by something she couldn't name. Their shoulders were nearly touching, and she was acutely aware of the heat radiating from the alien woman's body, warmth that seemed to pulse in time with the glowing patterns beneath her skin. Why hide from us? Elena asked. Why let us think we were alone? We didn't hide. You simply couldn't see. Lyra turned to face her fully, and Elena found herself caught in those strange, beautiful eyes. Your kind looks at the universe through such narrow lenses. You seek life only in forms like your own, on worlds like yours. But consciousness blooms wherever conditions allow, in 1,000 different gardens. She reached out and took Elena's hand. The touch sent warmth flooding through Elena's body, and suddenly she felt it, the vastness of Jupiter's awareness pressing in around them, ancient and patient and profoundly other. She gasped, and Lyra steadied her. Easy, the alien woman murmured. The first true contact is always overwhelming. You're feeling what I feel always, the presence of the world mind that birthed and nurtures my people. It's... Elena struggled for words. It's beautiful. And terrifying. Yes. Lyra's hand tightened on hers. Both at once, always. That's the nature of true consciousness, it contains multitudes, contradictions, impossible depths. Marcus had moved closer, his expression troubled. Elena, we need to be careful. We don't know what this is doing to you. But Elena shook her head, reluctant to break the connection with Lyra. I'm fine, Marcus. It's just... I've never felt anything like this. Something flickered across Lyra's face, pleasure, perhaps, mixed with sadness. You feel it because you're open to it, Elena. Your partner. She glanced at Marcus. He questions, which is good, necessary even. But questioning creates barriers. You simply accept, and in accepting, you can perceive. Lyra released Elena's hand and gestured broadly. The clouds around them shifted, becoming a window onto other worlds. Elena saw Saturn, its rings spinning not just with ice but with beings like living jewels. Uranus and Neptune, their blue depths harboring civilizations that swam through diamond rain. Even distant gas giants orbiting other stars, all teeming with forms of life that challenged every human assumption. We are everywhere, Lyra said softly. The giants are not dead worlds, they're the true cradles of consciousness in the universe. Rocky planets like yours are rare exceptions, beautiful in their way, but ultimately islands in an ocean of life you never thought to explore. Why reveal this now? Marcus asked again. After all these years of humanity exploring space, why show yourselves to us? Because you're finally ready to look beyond your own reflection, Lyra answered. Because your kind has reached the giants and begun to ask real questions. And because... Her gaze returned to Elena. Because I chose to. Because in all my long existence, I have never met beings quite like you, so fragile, so brave, diving into my home in your tiny shell of metal and polymer. I wanted to know you. To be known by you. Elena felt her pulse quicken. There was something in Lyra's words, in the way she looked at her, that transcended scientific curiosity. It felt personal, intimate in a way that made her acutely aware of Marcus standing behind her, of the complexity of feeling drawn to two beings so different from each other. "What do you want from us?" Elena asked quietly.